Welcome to the White Wall Sessions Radio. I'm your host, Dan Schaefer. On this week's episode, we feature JAS Quintet, the Ruralists, and Janice Gilbert. If you'd like to know more about the artists on the show, visit thewhitewallsessions.com for features, links, and videos. JAS Quintet is a 5-piece original jazz band based in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The combined talent of JAS Quintet is stunning, with Joel Shotwell on saxophone, Jim Spears on trumpet, Daniel Heyer on drums, Jeffrey Paul on keys, and Andrew Reinhardt on bass. The audience and crew were amazed. So this was our first endeavor into full-on jazz. I got to say, typically we write the lyrics down for closed captioning. There were several guys that volunteered for that job today because there was it was a blank slate. So how long has this band been together?
Well, let's see. This band proper has been together for probably only, when did you move back, Dan? A year and a half ago?
A little over a year and a half ago,
Yeah. We've all played together in a bunch of different groups kind of over the years, but never the five of us directly together. Our drummer, Dan, had been in Nashville for quite a while and just moved back to town. And I think you came to town, dropped your stuff in the house, and then came to play a gig with us right away that night.
Nice.
That's correct. Who needs to unpack?
I'm going to back up one step here. I'm going to introduce the band. So Jim Spears on trumpet.
Right.
And then Jeffrey Paul on keys.
Yep.
Joel Shotwell on sax. Andrew Reinhardt's on bass.
Yep.
And Daniel Heyer on drums.
That's correct.
And who's on vocals?
No, they pay me extra not to sing.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, you don't want to know.
So, this is kind of new for the Whitewall Sessions, and we're really glad we did it because it was really cool. Take us from a 2-minute Ramones song to a 20-minute jazz piece. How does that? I mean, there's a lot of difference there. There's like sort of that part after the verse. Do this. How do you do the part after the 15 minutes of playing? Tell me about that.
I can jump in, Andrew. Go ahead, or Joel. Yeah.
The interesting thing, he said, like the difference between a jazz tune and a Ramones tune is it kind of comes from a similar place, from just people that maybe were needing to just let go, you know what I mean? But like you said, there is quite a difference. A Ramones song or a pop tune or a punk tune or a rock tune has a very set form, and sometimes jazz music does too, but it allows for things to happen, and if things go one place, we go there, and if things go another place, we go there, and we just have to really listen to each other, and there's a language, but we're willing to, it's like having a conversation. It could take an hour, or it could be done in 20 seconds, so.
And, a lot of it too, it seems a little more esoteric from the outside, but inside a lot of times we know section A, and then the bridge is coming up next, and sometimes it's just as simple as Joel kind of looks sideways at us a little bit, and okay, there's 4 bars, and then we go on to the next thing. So it's both really listening deeply and also just some kind of cues and just playing with each other enough to kind of get inside of each other's heads.
Interesting. The members of the Northwest Iowa band, the Ruralists, met at the campus of Dordt College in Sioux Center, Iowa. When they found that they had a passion for music, they wasted no time in starting a band. The Ruralists are Luke Hawley, vocals, guitar, Ben Lappinga, electric guitar, Laramie DeVries, electric guitar, Jake Miller on bass, and Titus Langen on drums.
When the sun goes down over this old town, we'll shoot the lights out and sit beneath the stars. And though our time is short and our years are long, we will shake our fist at the fear of the dark. And I don't know what comes after this, old friend, but I know it's not the end of our time. I can't tell you how I know. I don't have a lick of proof, but I know it in my heart. I do, I do. I dug my father up in Michigan. If it's a sin, I would do it again. I drove his body over 4 state line. If it's a crime, I would gladly do the time. It is well with my soul. Now he's buried in the Minnesota snow. It is well with my soul. And when they laid him in the ground, 600 miles down from my hometown, I shook my fist and cursed the Lord of hosts, the one he loved the most. And I swore to do right by his ghost. It is well with my soul. Though my spirits wander deep into the cold, it is well with my soul. This world, is it too much to ask for a small patch of grass close to home for the ones that we love? I took my son to see his grave out by Well Lake off the interstate. And though my faith had grown dim, I taught him that my father's favored him. And Lord, haste the day when the faith shall be sight and the clouds
We're here with the Ruralists from Sioux Center, Iowa. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So you call Sioux Center home, or is there some of you from? There's one from Orange City.
Yeah,
right?
I'm from Orange City.
Yeah, Jake is.
All the same general area.
Yeah, he's from Orange City until his car breaks down in Sioux Center, and then he's from Sioux Center.
It's been a long weekend.
So let's introduce the band. We've got Luke. Maybe you could just introduce the guys.
Yeah, I'm Luke Hawley. I'm the songwriter and singer. Ben Lappinga is one of the guitar players. Does he need to say hello so that they can hear you?
Hello, yeah.
That's Ben.
That's me.
Laramie DeVries is the other guitar player.
Hello.
Titus Landigan is the drummer.
Hello.
And Jake Miller is the bass player.
Hiya.
Now, believe it or not, I think you are the second drummer named Titus we've had on.
Really?
White Walls. I think the guy from Von
That seems
Stompers.
crazy.
So the other thing, you're all from Northwest Iowa, but there's no van in front of any of your names. How did that happen?
I got a D in front of my name, so that's close.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Lappinga's pretty,
It's
pretty
Frisian.
Dutch.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of Dutch. Yeah.
Let's talk about growing up in that area or living there anyway. How did you all grow up there, or
No,
It's just me, just Titus, me.
where'd you all the rest of you come from then?
Well, the rest of them came from Dutch enclaves.
I grew up in Pella, Iowa, which is another
Kinda.
I
I mean,
Dutchy
I
town.
probably had all my formative years in a little Dutch enclave up in central Minnesota.
And for people listening on the podcast and the radio, the Northwest Iowa, that part of Northwest Iowa is kind of unique because of the Dutch, ness of it, I guess is what you say. And you don't hear about many rock and roll bands coming out of that area.
No, lots of pipe organ players.
Are you able to even play on Sunday or not?
Sometimes
They're
we
not supposed to
practice
mow our
on
lawn,
Sundays.
but
Yeah, not mowing.
It has to be in the dark, in small little rooms that no one can see through.
I mean, we laugh, but people are saying, what are they talking about? That's kind of true, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of...
yeah, we really don't mow our lawns on Sunday.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I was told you shouldn't, and it's a very quiet town on Sunday. It's actually it's nice. It's a real really relaxing and quiet and nice, just kind of hang around family. So
Sure. How did you all get together then?
So I teach English at Dordt College, and I had never been to Northwest Iowa. I was living in Twin Cities, and we'd been there for a few years, and I was complaining about not being able to play my songs anywhere, and my wife, Sarah, just got tired of me complaining, and she said, why don't you ask your friends? And I said, oh, it's tricky in a small town because, if we had practiced once and it had been really terrible, then I would have had to go, buy coffee from Laramie the next day and look him in the eye and say, remember how awful that was? But it turned out it was great. Yeah, right. I mean, it was, it was touch and go for 20 minutes, and then it locked in after that. So it was. I mean, the first show was almost a year ago, and it was Laramie owns. Well, why don't you?
Yeah, I own a little coffee shop, bar, wine bar, pizza, kind of, when you're in a small town, you got to have a little bit of everything.
It's
kind
delicious.
Kind of a joint. And we got a lot of live music out there. And so it's a little bit of what sparked the getting together was the Dordt school year was starting and we wanted to do a show. And so we were like, hey, let's
It was basically
something.
a back-to-school thing so that we could make Laramie a bunch of money.
Exactly.
Right? Bring people in the door and you could sell a bunch of beer and,
Just not on Sunday.
Just not on Saturday.
So,
I don't know. Then it stuck, So...
Yeah, after our very first practice, I got a call from a buddy of my brother's who needed a band for Pig Roast in Sac City, Iowa, which is very rural Iowa thing to do, I guess, is to play rock shows at Pig Roasts. He said, well, do you have a band? And I said, yeah, I do. It was as of 12 hours ago, sure. So then we had another gig, and then they just sort of kept happening like that. They just, snowballed.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You and me are much the same, slippery in our newborn skin. You and me will split this name until the end, until the end. You can have free. Remember when the world was born underneath the pale blue sky. You and me were bound and sworn in the heat of mid-July. Now the air is growing cold, the leaves are falling all around. So climb inside this heart of mine. I'll keep you safe, I'll keep you sound, till the blackbirds come home, till the blackbirds come home, till the blackbirds come home. Now the sky is black and bone, just the stars and sliver moon. And I am sleeping all alone, sweating out this summer swoon, and dreaming of the bed we share, and how the light breaks through the blinds and washes over all we have. That heart of yours, that home of mine.
Janice Gilbert comes from the small town of Eureka, South Dakota, where she fell in love with music. After winning a talent contest at the South Dakota State Fair, she headed for Minneapolis to record her first album. She spent several years in Nashville, but returned to South Dakota to teach music.
See that cottonwood tree at the end of that dirt road? After 23 miles, it always told me I was home. It's a beacon, a lighthouse on the prairie, standing on guard, always watching faithfully. Its roots run deep. Just the wind and the earth are the company it keeps. Its roots run deep. A lesson I'll always take with me. Well, Daddy said Granddad tried to kill it so many times. He broke the sickle on the moor, so he took it as a sign to let it grow and grow until it got so high. It drew a mighty lightning bolt straight out of the sky. But its roots run deep. Just the wind and the earth are the company it keeps. Its roots run deep. A lesson I'll always take with me. And when that tree was split in two, no control of things it can't undo, it grew and grew and grew. 'Cause its roots run deep. Just the wind and the earth are the company it keeps. Its roots run deep. A lesson I'll always take with me. You see that cottonwood tree at the end of that dirt road? After 23 miles, it always told me I was home. Thank you. I got through one.
We're here with Janice Gilbert at the Whitewall Sessions tonight. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you, Dan.
We had a fantastic show tonight. This was really fun.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Very
Good,
cool.
good. You had good people here, a lot of friends and family.
Yeah, a lot of support. So it was really nice.
So you were born in Eureka, South Dakota?
Miller, South Dakota.
Miller.
Yeah, Miller.
Is that going to cause a problem?
Yeah, Miller, South Dakota. When they actually had a hospital that delivered babies still.
Yeah?
Yep.
So when did you start singing and when did you start playing guitar?
Well, when I was a little girl, my mom used to play guitar all the time. And I would be her tag along to everything. And there's one year, I think I might have been in 4th grade maybe, there was an Easter cantata in Falkton, South Dakota, which our farm is kind of in the middle of this triangle where it's Miller, Falkton, and Redfield. And we're about 23 miles north of Miller, but then that also put us about 20 or so miles from the other two towns. And she wanted to do this Easter cantata, and I, being her shadow. Oops, yeah.
Do a what? Eastern, what are you saying?
Cantata, Easter cantata.
What's that?
It's like almost like a musical for Easter. Like it tells the story of Jesus' birth, but it's like this long production. So instead of just like doing one song, it's like a whole production that they have a choir that sings along. And so everybody in the choir that sang for the cantata they were all a lot older, even older than my mom. And of course, you never think about what age your mom is. I mean, she was probably in her 30s, I think, at that time. And so I showed up for the first rehearsal, and these older ladies were not happy that I was there. And they said, "Oh, this kid, why does she want to be in this cantata?" And I was like, "I just really want to sing." And so I ended up singing, and I put my time in, and they were actually, by the time we got done finishing the project and getting ready for the actual service, they were actually glad I was there. And they said that it was nice to have me there. So that was kind of, my childhood was kind of following my mom around, and she played guitar, and I never actually really played guitar until I moved down to Nashville. I was a keyboard player by force because my mom forced me to take keyboard lessons when I was, I don't know, probably 3rd through 6th grade-ish. And I hated piano lessons because we We had a very strict piano teacher, 2 of them, and I begged to quit. And then once I quit, it was probably around middle school, I actually started playing more when I quit because I could play whatever I wanted to play. And so my mom would buy me a bunch of sheet music, like the really cool ones you could buy for like $3.95, and they are like trifolds. Yeah. So I started playing with that. And then when I was 14, I had a cat named Mittens. Do you sense a theme here? And Mittens got sick and she died. And so the first song that I wrote was about this cat. And I probably have it somewhere in a notebook, and you do not want to see it.
You were 14.
But 14, yeah. So that was when I wrote my first song. And then I started writing a little bit more after that, all the way through college. And then when I got my first job in Arlington, I did this contest at the state fair called the Dakota Star, and actually won by some miracle. And one of the prizes for winning was, I'm kind of taking this question everywhere. It's like my life story. Okay, sorry. One of the prizes was to record a CD single with this producer in Mitchell, and his name was Chad Sharp, and so he had C Sharp Productions. And that's kind of where the songwriter that I am now kind of started, because I kind of started to take it a little more seriously because he found out I had wrote at the time, and encouraged me to put some of those or to co-write the project with him. And so that's kind of where the songwriter where I am now has kind of started. So,
what kind of music were you listening to when you started writing?
I've always been a country fan, especially 90s country. Like I grew up on a farm, and we'd drive around doing whatever we were supposed to be doing, picking rock or feeding pigs, chickens, you name it. So I was really inspired by 90s country. For a while I was writing some pop music, and I think that kind of comes with playing the piano. And then piano also makes me write a little bit slower, like love ballads and stuff like that. So yeah, the guitar kind of brought me back to my country roots.
So when did you start playing guitar then?
A couple years. I was down in Nashville for about 7 years. I moved down there in 2006. After a couple years of hauling my big keyboard around, I had one of those big, like, solid road cases, and I had this big Chevy Suburban with tinted windows, but it's hard to find parking downtown Nashville and unload this super huge piano by yourself. So I was like, I got to do something different. And so I was pretty proud of myself, though, because I could go to an open mic and I could set my piano up faster than someone who was getting their guitar out. So I was pretty proud of that. But after a while, it wears on you. So I probably started playing the guitar in about 2008.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, what took you to Nashville from South Dakota?
Well, okay, after that contest, and we did the CD single. That CD single is actually his highest selling CD single from the Dakota Star winners.
The C sharp.
Yeah. And so I kind of was, I don't know, fueled the flame, I guess. And then I had a couple opportunities that same year that we released the single to like sing at the Chicago White Sox for like a national anthem, and some really cool opportunities kind of presented themselves. And I was like, maybe we should try this, And I said to Tim one day, I said, we should just move to Nashville. And he's like, okay. So we took a trip down there just to visit. And I remember coming up, when you go into Nashville, there's this huge hill when you come in, well, mountain really, but when you come in on I-24, and we were talking in the car, and he goes, what if you don't like it? And I was like, we're going to like it. I like Sunday mornings, coffee on the porch swing, watching you smile as you read the paper, like a long drive to where you first tried, using that old out-of-gas story. I like that, yeah, I like that, but I love it when I catch you looking at me as if I am all that you can see. I love it when you're kissing me and we have to stop to breathe. Then there's that secret thing you do, it makes me come unglued, yeah. I love it when you do that. I love it when you do that. I like walking on a warm night, waiting on the moonlight. Let our eyes just do the talking, like a blanket spread out on the bank, yeah, till the sun peeks over the lake. Now I like that. Yeah, I like that, but I love it when I catch you looking at me as if I am all that you can see. I love it when you're kissing me and we have to stop to breathe. Then there's that secret thing you do, it makes me come unglued, yeah.
talking to myself because you see, you're 1,000 miles away, even though you're lying next to me. Another lonely night, just like the night before. But in my mind, I've already walked out that door. No one has to go to be gone. Nobody has to move on. Goodbye isn't good if it takes too long. Pretending that it's right when it's wrong, till you find the strength to be strong. No one has to go to be gone. It's hard to stay in love without loving. Boy, you know I've tried, but I keep winding up with nothing. I remember when you couldn't get enough of me, but I could build a whole new world on the way things used to be. No one has to go to be gone. Nobody has to move on. Goodbye isn't good if it takes too long. Pretending that it's right when it's wrong, till you find the strength to be strong. No one has to go to be gone. I know you think everything is fine, but if you would look at me, you'd realize no one has to go to be gone. Nobody has to move on. Goodbye isn't good if it takes too long. Pretending when it's right when it's wrong, till you find the strength to be strong. No one has to go. No one has to go to be gone. Thank you.
If you'd like to know more about the artists we feature, visit thewhitewallsessions.com. The White Wall Sessions Radio is recorded and produced at Last Stop Studios in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Last Stop Studios is located in the lower level of the Last Stop CD shop at 2121 East 10th Street in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Executive producers are Jeff Zuger and Doug Taylor. Head of broadcast engineering is Dave Palmer. Audio technicians are Chad Conrad, Carl Koiser, and Dave Palmer. Audio mixing is Chad Conrad. Associate producer is Michael Yeager. Scheduling and sales is Tom Eisner. I'm your host, Dan Schaefer. Join us again next week for another edition of the White Wall Sessions Radio.